What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Darklord card that has just been announced, Condemned Darklord, and then I'm also going to kind of update you guys, show you what I have for my new build for the upcoming format for the foreseeable future. So let's go ahead and get that card text for Condemned Darklord. So it needs 2 fairies, so it's like generic for fairies, and it says that you can tribute summon a fairy monster that requires 2 tributes by banishing 2 monsters in your graveyard instead of tributing. It is still treated as a tribute summon. So that means that you can like instantly get your Morningstar going without having to actually use the monsters on the field. So that effect is actually really strong, but only really good going second. So the next part is you can discard 1 card, take 1 Darklord monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the grave. So this effect is also, it's not the best because it says monsters only. If it said card, then this monster, then Condemned Darklord would be a lot better. But since it only says monster, like you're kind of limited to what you really would want to search. Sending to the grave is good, but wanting to search, feels like you commit a lot to it. And then also the final effect is once per turn during your end phase, you gain 500 life points for every fairy monster on the field. So this is actually a super relevant effect. If you have just 2 Darklords, that's 2 fairies, so you have 1,000 life points. That's an extra effect that you can use. So personally, I think she's actually a decent card. I don't think it's like anything crazy that's gonna put this deck over the top, but it's definitely gonna make going second a lot easier, a lot more consistent to break boards and stuff. Now, Morningstar is for sure a staple one of in all Darklord builds. It should be at least. But going first, I don't really see myself making this. Just Witch is just much better. It beefs up your monsters and it gets you into a flow. But Condemned Darklord is still a card that will be required moving forward to be played in the deck because it can search a monster when you need it. It essentially makes Morningstar much easier, but other than that, it doesn't do too much for the deck. So okay, other than Condemned Darklord, I want to show you guys my build, and I kind of decided I wanted to clean it up a little. So as you can see, I have Allure at 3 and Nasten at 3. That was pretty much the only changes that I made from the prior build. I just cut the called by and I made the entire deck just 1 engine. I figured if the entire deck was 1 consistent engine, that it'd be able to push through hand traps and I wouldn't need called by. Instead of called by, I would just have that extra extender, that extra push. So the entire deck has just been super fluid. And really consistent as well. The side deck I decided to clean up too, so I have Danko and Twin Twister for Altergeist, and I have Twin Twister and Evenly Match for Sky Striker, and then I have Kaiju and the Time Lord for the Thunder Dragon matchup. So this list and this build is for the foreseeable, is for what I think is going to happen in the future, or for what I'm hoping for. I'm pretty sure Konami is going to do something about the FTK decks, either make them way less consistent or just get rid of them entirely. But that's why you don't see any hand traps or not anything in the side to stop those decks either. In the extra deck, I did add Boral Sword and Unicorn. So Unicorn, I found that extra farmer removal is really insane, going Phoenix into Unicorn and then also utilizing your Darklord effects is really good. So you 1 Unicorn I feel like is a must have, and then Boral Sword just because a lot of times all your monsters can only be summoned in defense. So Boral Sword can be summoned and maybe send, and then maybe move the Ugo back to defense because all your big bodies are already in defense, so you'd make them into the Boral Sword. So yeah, Boral Sword has been really good. And I'm just back to playing the Black Rose and Don Dragster. Don Dragster being the most common extra deck monster that I make. And yeah, so I do want to show you guys a couple, just two replays on Dueling Book that I have with this build, and nothing crazy, but I thought they were pretty interesting. So this first one here is against, I believe it's a Monarch deck, and let's see, looks like he went first. Yes, the Monarch player went first and bricked heavily. So, and then I open up with a really strong Darklord hand. So I think I just wanted to show this, show the power of the deck, show how strong that it can be. And consistent as well, because I mean it has search cards and it has draw cards. And right here, I'm able to actually summon this ogre back out of the grave and have access to my tuner before I activate the contact in my hand, which allows me to pretty much clear the board. And he can't negate it, he has nothing to negate it, so it destroys his entire board, and then I'm able to recreate and set up with a board of pretty much double destruction. I have contact and ogre back in grave, which means I have another search and I have eggshell and amdusc in hand. So that was game one, and then I'm going second again, and I sided into twin twisters, so I open up a very strong hand again. Nasten is such a just good push card going second, puts on a lot of pressure. And then I even have the Superbia to discard for the Twin Twister. Now here he makes Vanity's Fiend, so that actually does stop all of my plays. But I have enchantment and banishment, so I'm just gonna have to stall out one turn. And I hope that my enchantment doesn't get like removed somehow before my next turn. And then Twin Twister is also gonna help me like kind of deter whatever he's gonna make or whatever. So yeah, I'm just gonna take the damage though. So I'm able to take the Vanity's Fiend because enchantment does not target, and I draw the ogre back. I'm not the best draw, but it's a Darklord name, which is all we needed to resolve the nasten effect to summon himself. So that's going to be just fine because we're going to go ahead and tribute summon over the Vanity's Fiend using amdusc. So I actually tribute summon a lot in Darklords. A lot of people don't realize that, just because a lot of the Darklords can only be summoned once per turn. So in order to make the rank 10 spider that I use for like OTKs a lot, you have to tribute summon one of the eggshells, which is something a lot of people don't really think about. But it's something that comes up a lot. So here I'm going to go ahead and tribute summon the amdusc over the Vanity's Fiend, so now I can special Nasten himself, and then Nasten is going to get that search. So yeah, I just pretty much recreate an entire board. Kind of missed my maximizing my damage output on that attack, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. I'm setting up a board, and once again I end up with the double destruction, actually clearing his board. Not that it was a crazy board to begin with or anything. These were just two duels that I just played with the new build, and I thought I would show you guys just because they were good duels for Darklords. Yeah, so he's not able to push through. And I top deck Reasoning, which is a very powerful card. And he goes ahead and scoops, because you can see that I'm just going to be able to kill him through the through his life, and he can do. And I got another replay here as well, just because this one's actually against Pran Kids, and I wanted to kind of see what they did, show you guys how the deck fares against them. Now game one, albeit he does, I do win the die roll, and so let's see how the Pran Kid is going to be able to break through the Darklord board. because it does look like I'm going to be able to make the full board, because I have access to everything that I need. Foolish Burial is a card that I do kind of want to cut. I'm not exactly sure for what. One more push card though. It just, a lot of the time it seems like it's not doing too much, or it's setting up for something that I don't necessarily need. Here I put in the second Eggshell into the grave, so that next turn when I use 2 effects I'm down to 4k, and then when I use 2 effects again on my turn I'll be down to 2k, and that spider will have all my monsters gain 6,000 attack. So I just sent the Eggshell so I would have the other level 10, but like I want a card that does a little bit more than that. So yeah, I do end up on the full board of Spell Trap, Negate, and Double Mind Control. And for this format I'm actually opting out towards the Double Mind Control, because Destruction just doesn't really do enough. Like, I know generic Destruction is very powerful, and especially non-targeting, but against the decks right now, I feel as though like Thunder Dragon, Sky Striker, all the meta decks, Destruction isn't doing enough. So yeah, I'll move forward with this match. So it looks like he must have had not so good of a hand, because I think I negated that, so looks like he only had access to 1 Pran Kid monster, because one of my friends from Locals place has been playing the deck recently, and you need to get a way to summon 2 monsters, like Instant Fusion, or the spell that summons the token, or to already have the polymerization in your hand to summon them. But if you can't, then if you just have all Pran Kids and no way to summon them, then you're kind of stuck. So it looks like that's what happened to him, and I negated his search as well. So move forward, I summon the Ugo back, and I actually don't use Rebellion on the end phase. I go into banishment to secure that contact to my hand, and then I like to try to get like 2 birds with 1 stone, essentially. Like if it is a strike, or if it is an impermanence, next turn I can go amdusc effector Rebellion. He can negate it, and then the Rebellion will stay in the grave, and then Eggshell can target the Rebellion. So that's the thought process between that, because I know a lot of the times destroying it before, like the turn it's set, is a lot better, but this is what I opt out for. I do get that contact, and I top deck the Desires. So I destroy set Desires, I pop the background. This is what I was talking about, how the Unicorn is so good, and how the Nightmares are just so powerful in tandem with the Darklords. So I used Rebellion to pop another to pop 1 card. Phoenix popped another card, and then of course Unicorn gets rid of the last card. All the while I'm discarding fodder for contact. So I don't think he has realized by now, but I most definitely am going to OTK him right now. With my partner, number 35. Now here he actually gets to go first, and I set it into a kaiju. Not 100% sure what to side against him. Maybe the Time Lord would be better, but I just opted out to the kaiju. Wasn't 100% sure what they were going to do, but I did know he was going to make a monster board. So this is his end board here, a Bow Wow, and essentially the quick play Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm not 100% sure why he made this guy, but I'm also not 100% sure what all the other monsters do. If there's a quick play monster destruction, that probably would have been better, but then again, I do have the test Ketlapoka in my hand if he were to destroy my monsters. So it looks like the Bow Wow right now is the only real form of interaction, or not even interaction thing, but it's the only form of effects that I have to worry about, because it does allow him to get 2 more cards to his hand. So let's play this turn out. He's able to make Toad, which I have seen a lot with the deck, and I just get rid of the Bow Wow right away, just to avoid him from using the quick effect at any moment. As soon as we go into main phase, I have priority, so I'm able to summon over the Bow Wow without him doing anything. And then Lord draws me into like a very strong hand to OTK with. The double banishment's a little weird, but I don't think I can OTK with this hand because I probably have to get rid of the Tezcatlipoca. But it gives me a very strong hand to kind of clear the board and control the game moving forward. Now the thing that hurts the most is the Droll here. So Droll is very, very strong against Darklords, but with a decent hand, like if you have Ukoback and Nasten, that's typically, enough. Ukoback gets anything to your grave, or even amdusc, because Ukoback sends it to the grave, amdusc gets it from the grave, so you're not technically adding it to your hand from the deck, you're sending it to the grave and then adding it from the grave to your hand. Kind of like what Sky Strikers do to play around Colossus. So, here we go. I summon the Nasten. I take the Kaiju so that I can make the big eye. And so I made the Rip-Roar Mercer because I know this thing summons a token. And this could be a quick play to stop that. And that I thought that's what he was going to do next turn, but he ended up doing something worse for him. I make Wee Witch just so that I can float. Yeah, I'll add the Ukoback back into my hand with the contest, since I do have contact. And I think I forgot here, this was also not a good play. Nasten, all the Darklords can only be summoned once per turn, so Nasten should not even be on the field right now, and this contact should be in my hand. But yeah, I guess that's neither here nor there, because he goes and activates the Pran Kid place to get a search off, and he starts searching his deck, and I tell him that I'm using his own Link monster to destroy his field spell, and his effect will fizzle. And yeah, he scoops. So yeah, those are my two builds my two duels that I had with the new build. Essentially not really a new build, but the new ratios with the deck that I've been liking a lot better. It's been a lot more consistent for me. And also my take on the new Darklord card, the Condemned Darklord. Like it's strong, definitely going to be played in every Darklord deck, but I'm definitely not making builds around that deck or around that card. We shouldn't be focusing our builds to make that card good, just because it's only really strong at making Morningstar, and Morningstar is only good when you go second. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Darklord Eddie out.